If you're looking for a way to find, select, and close small business deals, then watch this video because I'm going to share with you the strategies that have worked for me and for my clients when it comes to finding profitable small businesses for sale. And I'm talking specifically about these deals below $25 million in ticket size. My name is Marco Palmero, founder of Ulysses, and I consult with companies and individuals so that we can create together a very complex strategy for finding deal flow, filtering deal flow, and then closing deal flow so that people can acquire assets and buy cash flowing businesses fundamentally. And in this video, again, I'm going to share with you some of the strategies that have worked for both my clients and myself. And I'm going to explain to you why some of the myths and the problems that people think are surrounding this industry are just backwards and they're wrong and they shouldn't be looked at as problems. Now, before we actually dive into this video, if you're interested in getting one-on-one support and you wish to apply for consulting sessions, check out the form below. There's a form you can submit and then an application that you need to go through. Provided we have slots available, because we're currently booked up, we'll review your application and then our office will revert back to you with the process that you need to go through in order to engage with us and work either with me or my team in developing this deal flow strategy so that we can predictably find transactions, negotiate transactions, and close transactions. But having said that, for all the other people that might be company owners, investors, entrepreneurs, or even individuals that wish to understand more about how our system works, stick to this video. I will share with you some of the strategies that have delivered incredible results for me and my clients. Now, let's take a step back and talk about the nature of the problem, because many times when people start looking at small business deals and they decide to acquire a business, they spend so much time on the technical side of it, and they don't really understand that there are bigger problems that you need to take care of. So what I've seen many times when people come to me and they ask me to consult with them is that a lot of them spend tons of time, money, and mental energy on finding out the right accounting and legal team to represent them, on the process to filter down deals, on how to close a transaction, how to transition the business under new management. And all these things and all these problems are certainly aspects that you want to take care of when you are buying a small business. But my point here is they're just not relevant until you have one thing, which is a solid deal flow pipeline. Without a constant inflow of deals, there's no point in wasting time on anything that comes after. And what I've seen is that a lot of people spend time on the technical side, they don't invest enough time on finding good deals, and ultimately they end up bringing bad deals to the finish line. And then they wonder why they're unable to purchase the business of their dreams. And they don't realize that, again, the process itself was broken from the very beginning because there was no strategy. So let's reinstate what the problem is and what are some of the key challenges that a lot of people face. And those are just feedbacks that I collected from people that came to me for consulting sessions or for our done for you services. The main issue many people were facing when they approached us for help, where they either didn't have enough opportunities to look at, that the opportunities that they were looking at were not sufficient, they were not fitting their own acquisition criteria, and also that the opportunities were too competitive. So even if they were able to find a good deal, that deal got stolen from them because there was another buyer that could acquire the asset faster than they could. And so all these issues, as you can see, are fundamentally surrounding the concept of deal flow. And I think one of the key aspects of making successful business acquisition comes down to having a solid pipeline of opportunities, because business acquisition are all about lead generation. If you remove all the technical aspect of business acquisition and you focus just on the core aspect, the core element of what this process is all about, it's just about lead generation, because you are going to need to go through a lot of opportunities before you find a good deal. And so the amount of leads that you have and the quality of these leads are going to make a huge difference, between a person that can execute on a deal and a person that's just going to spend time spinning wheels and not accomplishing anything. And so it is important to put a lot of effort into building up a solid deal flow pipeline, because once you have good deals that are coming almost on autopilot, then you can really dive into the technical aspects. But now you have the foundation that is the good deals, and so all the technical elements that you're going to cover later are going to deliver tremendous results because the first input was correct. And so again, getting back to the main challenges that people face: not enough opportunities, opportunities that are not good enough, opportunities that are too competitive, and in some cases even problem in finding deals altogether. And so why are all these problems happening? Well, based on what I've seen in small business acquisitions, a lot of times people focus too much on what's available in the market. And I don't know if that is because of laziness or because there are a lot of players in the industry telling you that they have good deals available that you can look at. But looking at deals that are listed on sites, on platforms, or any other public tool, if we want to call it this way, ain't really the best way to look at small business acquisitions. It might be a good thing to do if you're a venture capitalist, a private equity group, and you're targeting deals above $50 million, above $100 million. Over there, you're going to have a decent network of investment bankers, professionals, and tools that you can use to get the good deals, better, faster than anybody, fundamentally. But with small business deals, there is a challenge. And the challenge is that 60% of the good deals, or I would say 60% of all the deals, is happening off market. And it's found and closed off market, which means that fundamentally you're not going to be able to find 60% of deals if you just look at sites, if you just buy platforms or tools, or if you just talk with business brokers. And then I have nothing wrong with these professionals. They're a source that you should use and leverage to scan the market for opportunities. But they're not the only answer, and that's exactly what I want to discuss with you in this video. And kind of like the emphasis that I want to put on this is, with the right strategy and the right ecosystem for finding deals, that is not going to be the only channel that you use to find opportunities. And that's how and when your business acquisition journey is really going to explode, because you're going to have more opportunities that you can handle. So, as I said, 60% of deals are off market. Now, you might wonder, well, Marco, if you say that 60% of deals are not listed in any place, how can we find them? Well, we need to deploy lead generation strategies like any other business. If you go to a local shop, this company is going to use lead generation to get customers. That's just normal for them, right? They get leads, they convert them into customers, and then they generate revenue. But for some reason, when it comes to business acquisition, people are reluctant to look at this lead generation strategy as a solution for their problems. Well, in reality, that's really all there is. The better the leads that you find, and the more the leads that you find, the higher the probability that you're going to close a good deal. And so, how do we find them? Well, as I mentioned before, we have the professionals, like brokers, the investment bankers, the accountants, lawyers. All these are the professionals that are going to have opportunities available, and you can leverage them to review multiple opportunities at the same time. But most of them are going to have deals that are already on the market. So the seller in some way, shape, matter, or form manifested his interest in exiting the business. But the problem is, many small business deals are not available because the owner himself doesn't want to advertise the fact that he's selling the business. And you might say, Marco, why is that the case? Well, because many reasons actually. He might be afraid that the business is going to be devalued once the news go public. He might be afraid that the employees are going to leave. He might be afraid that customers are not going to come back because now the business is for sale, so they think it's going to disrupt the service. So all these fears that are browsing into business owners' heads are making them avoid listing their company. And so it's our responsibility to go ahead and find these guys, initiate a discussion, and then see if the opportunity is worthwhile, if we can really buy the business. And so for us to contact business owners, right, we want to build a very comprehensive strategy for lead generation, because these guys are not going to be responsive to the same things, right? Depending on the country or the sector that you're operating in, people might be more responsive to certain things or others. Depending on their own character and behavior, they might be responsive to some things instead of others. And so we really want to create a sort of web around deal flow that brings us opportunities on a consistent basis. And that's exactly what we do when we work with our clients. We create strategies that then can work for them, or we help their team building up these pipelines so that they can then manage them on their own. Now, what are some of these pipelines to find this 60% of off-market deal flow that I just mentioned to you? Well, there are really many that I can discuss with you. I would say calls are one of them, email is one of them, that goes into outreach, in the outreach category. Networking is one of them, affiliates is one of them. What else? Well, we got events, although they might fall into networking, but it's a little bit different. I will explain the reasons why that is the case later. Then we got social media. We got, other business owners, and really many others. I'm not going to list them all here. The thing is, the strategic approach that we want to take towards finding profitable businesses for sale is that we want to have multiple channels that bring us deals. And we want to have multiple channels not only because, as I just said, people are responsive to different things, but also because the more channels we have, the more leads we're going to get. And if we rely only on a single channel, if that channel goes away for one reason or another, then we're back to square one. And that's what we want to avoid when we invest time and money into finding deals and then closing deals. The process of closing a business transaction is relatively long, and once we have a few good deals in the pipeline that we're working on, all our attention is going to go into these deals. If for some reason these deals don't close, we cannot reinitiate the process from zero. So we want to avoid this kind of like cycle where we fundamentally ramp up the entire thing, find leads, start talking with leads, negotiate with leads, get deals that are good, start negotiating deals, almost get close to a sale and a purchase, and then ultimately these deals don't close and we're back to zero, right? What we want to do is to have a consistent cycle that continuously finds opportunities even when we are negotiating deals. Because if those deals for some reason don't materialize, we have new transactions already that we can jump into right away. And so we don't waste time, we immediately initiate another deal, and we have a very healthy system that we can leverage to close transactions. And those channels enable us to accomplish exactly that. Now, ultimately, all these channels are going to enable us to tap the market entirely, which means if you are, for example, looking to acquire dental clinics in your town or in your county or in your nation, with all these tools together, you're going to reach out fundamentally to every single business owner. And in one way or another, you're going to be able to talk to the decision maker. Because if the guy is not responsive to calls and you're, getting an answer from his secretary, you can reach out to him via email. If he's not responding to these two, maybe you can use an affiliate to reach out to them indirectly. If affiliates are no-go in your country, maybe you can find them on social media. The point I'm getting at is that we're reaching out to people in different ways so that we can identify what is the channel that they're responding to. And once we have that channel, we're going to use it to, open up a conversation. It's like the salesman that puts a foot in the door, right? Once we have that foot in the door, then we can initiate a discussion. We can qualify the target, understand if the guy's motivated, and whether or not the deal is a fit. If these two things check out, then we got a lead, a qualified lead. We can continue the conversation. Now, once we have all this system built up, and I'm not going to dive into all these channels specifically because those would be subject of longer videos, and if you wish to have a bespoke strategy built for you, we can work together one-on-one, or in some rare instances we can have our team build up this system and run it for you. In both cases, you just need to apply to the form below, check out our process for applying, and then if you pass the application, get more info on how this is done, and we will actually help you one-on-one provided we have slots available. But let's say that we have built all this and now you're receiving profitable business acquisitions in a consistent way. How do we channel all these leads correctly? Because one of the things my clients never realized and they never thought was possible was this idea of being overwhelmed with leads. Many of them came to us and said, well, even if we just get, let's say, 10, 20 opportunities per week, we would be pretty happy because we will be capped already. Little did they know that these systems can bring them 50, 100 of opportunities. And so at some point they were forced to ask us to stop bringing them deals, or they had themselves, they had to quit the process altogether because they were receiving too many inquiries. Now, that was because they didn't focus their attention on building the second funnel that I'm going to discuss with you right now, which is the filtering process. Because once you have good deal flow that is coming to your door, off-market deal flow, so deals that are not listed on the market and owners that want to talk to you, we want to qualify them in a very ruthless way. I would say we want to be very stringent in how we make them go through steps. And the reason why we want to do this is because your team or yourself, if you're working alone, just have a limited amount of time. And we cannot afford to waste hours talking with wrong people, because after some weeks or months, we're going to have deals that we're negotiating, and we cannot invest 2, 3, 4 hours of our day talking with leads that might be interested in selling one day or another. We need to filter these down and make sure we're only talking with qualified targets and sellers that are ultimately motivated in exiting their business. And so how do we do that? Well, once we have this system that brings us leads, then every single channel is going to have a specific selection process that kind of checks out a few different boxes, one of which is whether or not the guy is motivated. Another is what are the criteria that you're looking at when buying a business. Is this business checking all these boxes? These two elements are checking out, then they might have an initial qualification call that you might want to take or your team might want to take. And once you have gone through that, you will know that you have a qualified opportunity. That will be, a good, I would say, result for the initial part of the funnel. But once you have that, then there's still a lot of work that you need to do, because you need to review these opportunities, negotiate them, and structure a deal, potentially. But if you do everything correctly, from here, all the leads that are going to be left here are going to be highly qualified deals. And that's the goal that we wish to accomplish with all this system. 1, increase the quality of leads that you find. 2, increase the quantity of leads that you find. And 3, reduce the competition that you're going to face when you negotiate these deals. Because as I said in the very beginning, these deals might be good, that you find through brokers, investment bankers, but might be highly competitive. With off-market deals, we are getting access to transactions that are not listed anywhere. So you might be the first person who's talking with this owner about exiting the business. So you're going to have preferential access to the deal. You're going to have leverage in the deal, and ostensibly more time to close the transaction. And so you're going to be left with all good deals. And so all your time is going to then be allocated towards these steps that are negotiations and closing, fundamentally. And the reason why I want to stress this concept is that too many people focus all their time on this without putting out the effort to build up these systems over here. And so they just go ahead, browse a broker site, and then start to filter leads down their funnel. Ultimately, what they realize is that leads are crap. Maybe these businesses were listed for months and nobody wants them. And so why would they want them? And so many people face the challenge of having bad deals in their hands and trying in some way to make a deal good. But that's a recipe for disaster. And people, get burned quite a lot when they close the wrong deal just because they're blinded by the fact that, a lot of things are wrong in that particular transaction. And so with our consulting sessions, or when people hire our team in our done-for-you services, we focus all our attention on taking care of all these initial elements so that you can then be 100% sure that you're going to have a solid deal flow pipeline and these deals are going to be qualified for you. Then you can focus all your attention on this stuff that really matters. But you have done the foundation. You've built the foundation, and now you know that everything you're going to do afterwards is going to work significantly better. And don't get me wrong, this is not guaranteeing that you're going to close a deal, because you still need to do all these steps afterwards in the right way. But what this is going to do is increase the probability of closing a good deal, and also maximize the return on your time in this part of the funnel, because you're going to talk only with people that are highly qualified, that are on target, that want to sell, they want to sell relatively quickly, and they're matching all your KPIs when it comes to business acquisition. Now, some of you might not understand fully how this whole process works, because maybe you're just thinking about buying a business, so it might be too early for you to even get involved in this. So you can watch out other stuff and then maybe come back to this and work with me and the team once you're ready. But for those of you who understand the importance of having a solid deal flow pipeline. This is what you should focus all your attention on. It doesn't matter if this is your first acquisition or if you're looking to diversify in a new vertical or in a new country. The most important thing you can have is deal flow. Capital you can find in different ways. Good accounting and legal teams to represent you on a deal you can find in different ways. But if you don't have a hot deal, you have nothing really. And I stress this concept a lot because the few people who understand this can ultimately build pipelines that kill the competition completely, because they access deals that nobody else knows are available. And so some of these things are the elements and the aspects that we cover when we work with clients one-on-one, or when we create bespoke solutions for them for finding, qualifying, and closing deals. If you're interested in having some of these systems and these channels built in your own business, check the application form below. We can then go through an application phase because, as I mentioned, we are totally booked up right now. But provided you go through all these steps and some slot is left and it becomes available, we will be happy to join a conversation and see if there is a way we can work together. Because again, most of what we do is either work with people one-on-one to build deal flow strategies or take care of the entire process on their behalf. Now, our application process is pretty straightforward. You can submit the form below, then you are going to have a series of questions that you need to answer. We only review applications that are complete and are filled out entirely. Once you have done that, there is a 15-minute call that you need to book. You're either going to talk with one of our team members or our assistants to understand a little bit more about what you do and what is that you wish to accomplish. Provided that application part is successfully accepted, we can then discuss how we can engage and how we can work together on building a deal flow process that's then going to help you closing profitable small businesses. So that's basically it. If you do wish to get support from our team and basically hire us to take care of the entire process on your behalf, just mention it in the application because that's going to be important. You will probably talk with a different team member, but other than that, the process is equal for everybody. So fill out the application if you wish to build out a deal flow pipeline for yourself and start closing small business deals almost on autopilot.